Today, we are going to look at Magic the Gathering cards that do not read the same way today as they were in the past. I'm going to start off with Impulse. There's no errata too great or too small. And I'm going to start off with Impulse for a blue 1 generic. It is an instant. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library. But then you have to shuffle your library afterwards. What is even the point of that? Why did I put them on the bottom of my library if I'm going to shuffle it already? Now, the official change is you look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order, period. No more shuffling anymore. That must have been a weird thing to look at. They, changed that, I think, within a week. They realized, whoa, they really screwed up on that card. Okay, apparently Lotus Veil is an interesting one. It's the most egregious example of Errata'd not matching printing. Lotus Veil. Lotus Veil from Weatherlight. When Lotus Veil comes into play, sacrifice 2 untapped lands or bury the Lotus Veil. Bury it to death. Tap, add 3 mana of any one color to your mana pool. At what price? Beauty. Okay, these days, I'm going to guess bury is gone, and also maybe mana pool is gone. If Lotus Veil would enter the battlefield, sacrifice 2 untapped lands instead. If you do, put Lotus Veil onto the battlefield. If you don't, put it into its owner's graveyard. Oh my god, that's incredibly different. And of course, add 3 mana of any one color, just like the Black Lotus. Toilet Duck, the Library of Lang. Library. There's a lot of libraries out there. Some are of Alexandria, some are of Lang. It's a 1 mana artifact. We need the ancient scripture. That's what we need here. It's the day of ancient scripture. And very, very hard to read the actual title of this card. It's a continuous artifact. There is no limit to size of your hand. That sounds very impressive. If a card forces you to discard, you may choose to discard to top of your library rather than to the graveyard. If discard is random, you may look at card before deciding where to discard it. Really? So if the thing is random, I get to see where it goes? Why would that even matter if it's random? All right. The updated version. It is just an artifact, as continuous as that sounds. You have no maximum hand size. That's quite reasonable. If an effect causes you to discard a card, discard it, but you may put it on top of your library instead into your graveyard. Interesting. So, if discarded at random, you look at card before deciding where to discard it. Oh, I see. So I guess the idea is it's random, and if it randomly goes to the top of your library, you wouldn't know where it went. Well, is it even random now? If an effect causes you to discard a card, discard it, but you may put it on top of your library instead of your graveyard. It sort of looks like I'm not allowed to look at the card anymore before it goes to the top of my library. If someone plays Hymn to Turok, and we hit something at random, I'm not allowed to look at that card anymore. I don't get to know. Or even technically, I should have some idea what's was in my hand. Very interesting errata. It looks like the card is very, very different from the past. Printed is a trigger. Errata is a replacement, but then Phyrexian Dreadnought wasn't given the same errata. Yeah, that's interesting. They pick and choose how they want to change everything. Oh, we can look at Illusionary Mask way down the line. That's a very convoluted card. Too big, in my opinion. Does Companion... It counts. Lutri, the Spell Chaser. Why do we even need an errata for this? Because the card was banned instantly. It, died on the spot. It was announced and banned immediately. Lutri, the Spell Chaser. We got a hybrid. Is it 1 generic for a 3/2 elemental otter. Companion. Each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name. Flash. Enters the battlefield. If you cast it, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. That's great. I can just immediately play the card directly from my sideboard, right? Wrong. Because now we got Companion. Each non-land card in your starting deck has a different name. But if this card is your chosen companion, you may put it into your hand from outside the game for 3 mana as a sorcery. Instead, it was like, if this card is your chosen companion, you may cast it once from outside the game. All the companions do not... That apparently is like the nuclear... That is like the nuclear option for Magic the Gathering, to change the card text like that. They almost never do that. Except they sort of do it all the time for, like, you know, creature types and stuff. Okay, we got Woosty, Ambassador, Blorpity, what? Ambassador, is this an uncard? There's no way that this is a real card. Oh, it is a real card, it's not Acorn. Okay, we got, is this Errata'd? Did they screw this up immediately? Blue-green, 3 generic for a 3/3 alien advisor guest. Enters the battlefield, you get 3 tickets. Then you may put a sticker on a non-land permanent you own. At the beginning of each combat, you may have Ambassador Blorpity, Blorpboops, power and toughness. Sorry, base power and toughness become equal to the total power and toughness of all stickers on the perms you control. So what's different? Enters the battlefield, 3 tickets. You may put a sticker on a non-land permanent you own. At the beginning of each combat, you may have Ambassador Bloopity's Booper Boops base power. Oh, just the power. Base power and tough. So what? Ooh, was toughness too broken or something? Base power of all stickers on perms you control, its base toughness become equal to those stickers' total toughness. Oh, they mentioned toughness twice. Is that the thing? There's like base power and toughness being equal to the total power and toughness of all stickers? Or they just make it worded weird? I don't get it. In the rules, if you can't find it. I don't want to read the rules. I want you guys to tell me the rules. That's how it works around here. Okay, they definitely worded it differently, but on the spot, I don't want to interpret exactly what the hell it means. So we're going to move on to Unos Dos Tres. Thank you very much for your super chat. Zaffy. Thunder Conductor. Is Zaffy exists? I'm going to look up the Thunder Conductor. Oh, Zafai! It's Zafai. How flashy, Zafai. Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, scry 1. If that spell's mana value is 5 or greater, create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. If the spell's mana value is 10 or greater, Zaffy deals 10 damage to an opponent chosen at random. So what's different? Whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, scry 1. That's the same. If the spell's mana value is 5 or greater, create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature token. Okay, so far. If the mana value is 10 or greater, Zaffai Thunder Conductor deals 10 damage to an opponent chosen at random. Okay, you guys gotta tell me the differences here. Did they change the name? Thunder Conductor? Conductor, not collector. Oh, hold on. Is there another one? Let's see all the printings here. Conductor, Thunder Conductor, all Thunder Conductors. But then it still says Thunder Conductor here. Or did they say collector in this Magecraft? When you cast a spell, Sapphire. Oh, did they say? Oh, it says collector here. Oh, what a weird screw up. Yeah, check the first print. Oh, it's in the text box. That is so weird. That is so not like Wizards R&D. No spell. Well, it's not technically gonna get caught by Microsoft Word spell checker because it is spelled properly. It is just not. It's not the actual name of the card. So funny. Okay. Spectral Maniac, Hostage Taker. I like this. You give me the card, you also give me the explanation. You used to be able to target itself. So for 4 mana, we have a 2/3, enters the battlefield, exile another target creature or artifact until Hostage Taker leaves the battlefield. That is an absolute conundrum. How does that work? If you target itself and it's gone, does it come back immediately to retarget itself? You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled, and a mana of any type can be spent to cast the spell. Yeah, that is an absolute brain twist. That's hilarious. And now, of course, it's just any other creature other than it itself. You played the Taker yesterday, but did you take itself? What would happen? Target itself, it would just come back? Could it loop for infinite loops? A judge might have a word with you if you do that, but yeah, you used to create loops on Arena. Oh God. Yeah, do you want to play through this? I guess they might rope you though. All right, next super chat we got from Platonic Liquid Winter Orb. I'm so curious what the old one. I don't know. All my neurons are tapped down. Me as well. Let's look at the ancient scripture of Winter Orb. 2 mana for a continuous artifact. As long as players can untap only 1 land each during untap phase. Creatures and artifacts are untapped as normal. Is there even an untap phase now? Or is it like... Oh yeah, I guess there is an untap phase. I can't remember if it's an untap step or an untap phase. Anyway, it's now been errated to as long as Winter Orb is untapped, players can't untap more than 1 land during their untap steps. That is the secret word. That is the secret text. Because back then, if you could tap a continuous artifact, then that means the effect didn't happen. And they got rid of continuous artifacts because, like, how are you supposed to know that? The secret words of Winter Orb. Winter Orb, you still have to have it untapped for it to apply. Absolutely. Amongst a lot of other weird words that they've changed from here. We did Impulse. Oh, is Meekstone different? Let's look at Meekstone. Another classic. Classic Magic the Gathering cards. For 1 mana, also continuous artifact. Hold on, but like, why doesn't this thing apply if it's untapped? Okay, any creature with power greater than 2 may not be untapped as normal during the untap phase. And now it's just creatures with power 3 or greater don't untap during their controller's untap steps. So is it funny that they reworded it from greater to 2 to 3 or greater? I guess it was like a little bit more clear that way. They both mean the same thing. I'm just wondering, was this a continuous artifact like back then? Like if you tap it, like stuff doesn't untap and then they just converted it to a regular artifact today? Because this is still a continuous artifact. Original is better in my opinion. The differences should be obvious. Not really, in my opinion. Untap step is part of the beginning phase. Ah, it's not even the untap phase anymore. They changed that completely. Okay, next super chat we got coming straight out of King Ginger. Impulse no longer shuffles the library afterwards. It never did in the first place. I don't know, it might have done it for a week. Anyway, we started the show on that one, King Ginger. So we're gonna donate your suggestion to Dinglebag's Howling Mine. But not that Howling Mine, this Howling Mine. Continuous artifact. At the beginning of each player draws 1 extra card each turn during his or her draw phase. And now it's at the beginning of each player's draw step. If Howling Mine is untapped, that player draws an additional card. So this had to have been part of, Meekstone had to have been part of the continuous artifact continuum. Meekstone, now Weakstone. From the Brothers War. I never played back then to know if you tap down the damn Meekstone, it wouldn't apply. Any creature with power 2 or greater may not be untapped during it. And that could matter in a multiplayer game. It could matter in a multiplayer game. Okay, next up, let's look at Ruck Egg, broken back in the day. It had like a stupid rule attached to it, didn't it? Okay, we got the Ruck Egg. In my opinion, the original image is the right image. We got the red 3 generic. Summon the egg for 0/3. If Ruck Egg goes to the graveyard, a Ruck 4/4 red flying creature comes into play on your side at the end of that turn. Oh yeah, that's right. So if you discarded this card, boom, you got a 4/4 creature immediately. I don't know what discard outlets there were back then, but like that was a thing. It just had to go to the graveyard by any means possible. Maybe you could mill it into your graveyard. Use a counter to represent Ruck. Ruck is treated exactly like a normal creature, except that if it leaves play, it is removed from the game entirely. Thank you for explaining how tokens work. And now it is just when it dies, which means it had to be in play first, and then it left the battlefield. You get your 4/4 red birdie onto the battlefield. It's not even named Ruck anymore. We don't get a Ruck creature. Wow, this is completely different. What happened with Meekstone? Well, it's named weird, and I'm not clear. Did they remove the continuous artifact effect from Meekstone? You let me know in the comments section below. Mind twist tech? Yeah, like mind twist, or like prevent someone from mind twisting you. What? And apparently it was banned temporarily before. I think it got. I don't know if it got errated or banned, but it was like weirdly broken at the time. But then they fixed it. We don't even get a Ruck anymore. We get a bird token. Funny enough, Bacon Catbug with the Flagstones of Trocare. RP Legend rule changes. Okay, Time Spiral. Legendary land. Add white to your mana pool. When it's put into a graveyard from play, you may search your library for a plains card and put it into play tapped. If you do, shuffle your library. When it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield. Oh, so it's not from play anymore. It's from the battlefield. Oh, fancy dancy. Yeah, I don't know why they had to make that clarification. It's the same thing though, right? You may search your library for a plains card, put it onto the battlefield instead of putting it into play. Tap, then shuffle. This is actually one of the few erratas that, like, basically you understand it anyway. Like, you know, putting it in play and on the battlefield is basically the same thing. Won't screw you over too much. So you could get 2 planes before, now you only get 1. Why is that the case? Oh, I don't understand. Look for a planes card put into play if you do shuffle your library. Oh, I'm not familiar with that interaction. Because of the legend rule. Oh, the legend rule used to kill both. Well, that's completely different. But yeah, okay, I understand that. Yeah, there was a time where legend rule would not ask you to keep the most freshest one, or would not give you the choice to choose one. Yeah, it annihilated both of them. 2 Flagstones of Trocare. We can't have that around here. Okay, Kevin with a Void Fate. Used to only counter interrupts and auras. Now counters instants and auras. Couldn't counter old school instants. Now can. Now I can do everything. As they errata this card more and more, it can do even more stuff. Okay, we got a green interrupt. Counters target interrupt or enchantment. Can only counter spells that target a permanent under your control. But now today it can counter basically instants. Sorry, interrupts back then was like a weird form of instant. And now all interrupts are now instants, so now it says counter any instant. And also, I guess it counters aura spells that target a permanent you control. Didn't it get, like, worse? So it got better on one end, it got worse on the other end. Aura spells suck. Like, I want to counter enchantments. Any enchantment. Why did they change it to aura spell? Was it too broken at a green to counter a full enchantment, for crying out loud? It's narrow. It's in damn green, for crying out loud. Whatever. Good enough. Okay, next up we've got a super chat coming straight out of Bryce. Elkin Lair. Oh. It's not often I see a completely brand new card on this show, but today this is going to be the Elkin Lair. It's a red 3 generic enchant world. During each player's upkeep, that player chooses a card at random from his or her hand and sets it aside face up. The player may play that card as though it were in their hand, in his or her hand. If the player does not play that card, by the end of turn, bury that card. I see a lot of keywords like bury, enchant world. That doesn't exist anymore. But it is still a world enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player exiles a card at random from their hand. That player may play that card this turn. At the beginning of the next end step, if the player hasn't played the card, they put it into their graveyard, it's put into the graveyard. And it ain't coming back. Because only auras can target creatures. Can target instant or aura spell that targets a permanent you control. Good call. Good call. You know what? But I still like the idea of countering any enchantment. Hold on, did it actually counter a spell that a permanent under your control? Okay, so only auras can target your permanent. Okay. Got it. That make a little bit of sense. Even in its original wording, a Void Fate can only counter enchantments that target creature you control. True story! But what about lands? So anyway, I guess it did get upgraded in that way. We got Rodolfo with Errata'd the Relentless. From Homeland. So we got a red 3 generic 5/2 Relentless. We got Summon Legend with no creature types. That's how it was back in the day, boys and girls. Errata'd the Relentless can attack the turn it comes into play on your side. Oh my god. Aren't we happy that all that garbage was replaced with haste? And we got red regenerate. Not a very red thing to do. Okay, so yeah, legendary creature. It's now a human rogue. And you know what? They could even add more creature types to this thing. It could be like a pirate or something. And it has haste. Red. Regenerate. Errata'd the Relentless. So that's funny. Why can't it just say regenerate? Just like we have haste. Like, who has haste? What, some other creature? No. Who are we regenerating? Obviously, Errata'd the Relentless. So they actually made one part of it less wordy, one part of it more wordy. So bizarre. Haste is 0.5, yeah. Okay, next super chat coming out of Crowcore Games. Orification. Walls can't attack. Lollers. Okay, we have a white 2 generic enchantment. Whenever a creature deals damage to you, put a gold counter on it. Each creature with a gold counter on it is a wall in addition to its other creature types. Walls can't attack, by the way. When Orification leaves play, remove all gold counters from all creatures. You gold now. Whenever a creature deals damage, you put a gold counter on it. Each creature with a gold counter on it is a wall in addition to its other creature types and has Defender. Just in case that wasn't clear. It's got to be a little bit more clear right now. All walls... No, do all walls have... I think all walls have Defender. Before, it was like all walls can't attack, but now all walls just have the ability of Defender. I started the show with Impulse. We did Impulse already. Sorry about that. Choose another card. Okay, we got Alex Gibson. Island Fish. Jasconius. From Arabian Nights. We got a blue 4. The 4 is almost transparent with the background. I didn't even know there was a 4 generic there. Summon Island Fish. We can fetch this card out with like Polluted Delta, Flooded Strand, Misty Rainforest. This is a fetchable creature. This actually, as worded right now, is the most broken creature in the game. Or is it? Hold on. You must pay blue during your untap phase to untap Island Fish. Island Fish cannot attack unless opponent has islands in play. Okay, actually, this is not that easy to play, even if you could fetch this thing out. Island Fish is destroyed immediately if at any time you have no islands in play. So, but it is an island itself, so it should work. You would have to change, I don't know, put like, you'd have to change the island type to a swamp or something. So funny. Okay, so now it's just a fish, not an island fish. I guess, like, what happened is, like, they printed the fetch lands. They had fetch lands back then, though. How did that work? Did they errata it immediately? The next one's an island fish. Revise, how it revised. It's still an island fish. At what point did they realize they screwed up? Oh my god, it was an island fish the whole way around. I'm sure, it's not a good interaction, to be honest. But maybe I can sacrifice my island fish to, like, I don't know, a sack effect or something like that. They didn't have fetches till a few years later. Yeah, but they had them in, what's it called? Visions. I don't know, maybe this card wasn't reprinted until after that. Anyway, yeah, it's got a lot of rewordings. Upkeep, you may pay blue. If you do, untap the island fish. Can't attack unless defending player controls an island. If you control no islands, which you always do with this card, you have to sacrifice island fish. Funny card. Very funny. Phil Goad with the Blood Frenzy. Oops. Okay, Blood Frenzy. Red 1 generic instant. Target attacking or blocking creature gets +4/+0 until end of turn. At end of turn, destroy that creature. Oh, it's almost like pseudo removal. So it's different. Cast this spell only during the combat damage step. Whoops! Oh, whoops! This was Doomblade. What end of turn Blood Frenzy your creature. Wow, this card is insane. Man. They did a big whoopsie on Blood Frenzy. I wonder, did they know that immediately, or did they let people play it like, or is it designed like that, and then like Berserk almost, and then they realize, maybe we should errata this card. That is hilarious. It's never been reprinted since. Regenerate is a verb, haste is a noun. All right. Good enough for me. I love this. This is a great example. Because if you have to cast it at the combat step only, you give your opponent the opportunity to hoof you in the face for like for 4 damage, you know. Okay, next let's look at King Ginger's wants a Johnny's Pride Mate. This card's been reprinted a billion times. So no longer a May ability. Oh, yes. You must do... Oh, yeah. I think that was changed for very specifically Arena. This was very specifically an Arena errata update. It didn't need to be like this. It's a white 1 generic 2/2 cat soldier. When you gain life, you may put a +1/+1 counter on a Johnny's Pride Mate. And like 99% of the time... you want to do that. I mean, unless your opponent has an ensnaring bridge in play where you need to keep the creature small, or maybe a Meek Stone. You want to gain a counter off of your Johnny's Pride Mate. And so like online, if I remember correctly, like Arena it was really cumbersome playing this card on Arena because it was triggering all the time. You have to click the triggers. Like just let it automatically happen. So it's just easier that way. Anyway, now it's whenever you gain life, you put that counter on a Johnny's Pride Mate. You get that counter. You're not allowed to change anything. Yeah, to reduce clicks on Arena. What a wild update to this card. Next super chat coming out of Krokor Games. Shizuko, Caller of Autumn. Very self-explanatory, is it? There's a lot of words on this card. 3 mana. Snake Shaman. For a 2/3 creature. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player adds green to his or her mana pool. This mana doesn't cause mana burn. Until end of turn, this mana doesn't empty from that player's mana pool as phases end. What would change? So they have like a lot of cards. Ooh, they slimmed this card down. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player adds green. Until end of turn, they don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Only until end of turn? Until end of turn. Oh yeah, like you don't have mana burn anymore. They don't have to specify that. That's not exactly something. We don't need to bring back mana burn. Some people want the burn to be back. Some people like to burn. They love torture. They like to bring back the feel bads of Magic the Gathering. All right, if you want to get your cards with all sorts of erratas, you know where to get them from. You get them at FusionGamingOnline.com. Where we got Murder. Oh, I'm in the way of the promotional material here. You can get your murders at Karlov Manor at FusionGamingOnline.com. Get anything that's been spoiled, new cards you need to get. You know where to get them from. And also, the deal of the week this week, save up to 20% off select Magic artifacts. Do they have Soul Ring up here? Well, this has a 1 on it, so that might be Soul Ring. We got Mox Amber, Colossus Hammer. We got Mana Crypt. We got all them Commander staples. And don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu at checkout to get 5% off all your purchases and support the channel. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. Play any deck, any format you want. Do it all. When you play Magic online, the world is your oyster. Every deck at your fingertips. Why would you want to do it? Because it's cheaper if you want to play a million decks. You don't have to worry about the cards, your cards getting banned, and you get to play as many decks to get that competitive edge. And you'll get that edge and make things even cheaper when you use coupon code Nikachu_Z or Z, no Z for you Americans, ZWX for 10% off your first 2 months. Okay, back to these wild cards. Wild Errata'ds. You guys want the Simulacrum. I know the pictures changed a lot. I didn't know the text changed a lot. Wow, they reprinted the crap out of this card. Okay, is a 4-mana 2/2 artifact creature with no creature type. Seriously? This is AI. This is like a classic AI-generated blunder. Okay, it comes into play. You may search your... That's why it's called the Sad Robot. It was born without a creature type. But everyone else has a creature type. Why not I have a creature type? It's a Simulacrum, not Solemn. I don't know the differences here. Oh, it's the wrong card? Oh, well, we found one anyway. You know what? We have it. Even though this is the wrong card, it's... Even though it's the wrong card, I had no idea the original card had no creature type attached to it. That's funny. Okay, there's actually apparently a real card, Simulacrum. Okay, we go to the OG. Holy crap. It is a black 1 generic instant. All damage done to you so far this turn is instead retroactively applied to one of your creatures in play. They just have a very weird way of explaining that. It's if this damage kills the creature, that it can be regenerated, even if there's more than enough damage to kill the creature. You don't suffer any of it. Thank you for letting me know. We're not going to suffer any of the damage done to our creature. Further damage this turn is treated normally. Yeah, very sad because they had no card type. Okay, so a Simulacrum. What the hell? I don't even know what this card does. It's a black 1 generic instant. You gain life equal to the damage dealt. Well, we gain life. Where's my gain life sound effect? You gain life equal to the damage dealt to you this turn. Simulacrum deals damage to target creature you control equal to the damage dealt to you this turn. Okay, I gain life equal to the damage dealt to you this turn. Oh, we're like transferring the damage from us to something else. Like, I took 5 damage, so instead I'm going to gain life equal to that damage. We put it somewhere onto the creature. They can suffer for us. Cool. Boy, was that worded poorly. Lucas! Thank you for your super chat. Orcish Oriflamme thing. Subtle change. Some of these are very subtle. We have a red 3 generic enchantment. Attacking creatures you control get +1/+0. Orcish Oriflamme. Enchantment. Attacking creatures you control get +1/+0. Attacking creatures you control. Oh, hold on. Sorry. Let's look at the... We have to look at the OG. Sorry about that. That was a newer version. Okay. When attacking, all of your creatures gain +1/+0. Yeah, that's right. But they still trigger, right? It's still a trigger. Yeah, very, very subtle change. Very subtle, very light, but it still counts. We got the Blink Somniac with old Sliver Queen versus reprint Sliver Queen. That doesn't make any sense. Sliver Queen has never been reprinted. It's never happened. Is there a Tempest Remasters version? Okay. We got Summon Legend. Basically, all cards that were legendary back then have had an errata of some sort. It's a 7/7. Sliver Queen counts as a sliver. Thanks for letting us know that. Pay 2. Put a sliver token into play. Treat this token as a 1/1 colorless creature. That doesn't even seem right to me. It should be, like, the slivers should be Wooburg. What happened here? You're a Wooburg queen, and you're producing colorless babies. MTG Gaming Blog. Good afternoon, my favorite competitive MTG player. You are a legend. Thank you so much. I will hopefully keep the legendary status of my competitive play in check. Okay. Her children are ever part of her. Well, she does away with them very quickly. Okay, now it's a legendary sliver. Legendary creature sliver. Pay 2, create a 1/1 colorless sliver creature token. Put a sliver token into play. Treat as 1/1 colorless creature. All the colors cancel each other out. I don't mind that theory. I can buy it. I can buy that theory. Stanel with, how do we all feel about Lightning Reflexes from Dominaria Remastered? Lightning Reflexes? Did that get an errata? Original printing was the Oracle text. Also, welcome back. The original printing? So when did they change? Okay, what's the lore here? It's a red, 1 generic. Enchant creature may choose to play Lightning Reflexes as an instant. If you do, bury it at end of turn. Well, that obviously changed. Enchant creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike. You may choose to play Lightning Reflexes as an instant. Oh, I see. So you can play at instant speed, but then it blows up your creature. You may cast Lightning Reflexes loaded at flash. If you cast anytime a sorcery couldn't have been cast, the controller of the permanent it becomes sacrifices at the beginning of the next cleanup step. God damn it! That was awful. I actually would wish we went back to the old one. This is one of those erratas where it gets more complicated, more convoluted, the more they cleaned it up in a backwards way. Just Oracle errata or updated text on a reprint? Either or. It's all good. I mean, if the text changed on a reprint, that counts as well. But basically, it has to have an Oracle change. Has to have an Oracle change. I mean, the Mirage version is different from the actual Oracle. Oracle. It's very, very different. We got Kerosene with is it? Oh, that's not spelled right. I know. Liat. I didn't spell it right either. Oubliette from Arabian Nights. All right, let's unpack this abomination of a card, which actually has had many rules changes in its day. It's a black 1 generic enchantment. Select a creature in play when Oubliette is cast. So it's like what? When it's on the stack? That creature is considered out of play as long as Oubliette is in play. And hence, the creature cannot be the target of spells and cannot receive damage. Use special powers, attack or defend. All counters and enchantments on the creature remain, but are also out of play. If Oubliette is removed, creature returns to play tapped. And now they say, okay, it's just phased out. Enters the battlefield, target creature phases out until Oubliette leaves the battlefield. Tap the creature as it phases in this way. That is just weird as hell. Can't believe Nikachu can say this French word correctly of all words. Oubliette! Hey, I am Canadian. All my rules for French is if I read it out like English, it's wrong. You got it. There's like a lot of silent letters in French. You just got to pretend some parts of the word don't exist. Bonjour. And stuff like that. All right, next, let's look at... Yeah, hit them like buttons and stuff like that. Okay, what are we gonna have next? Lord of Atlantis! Lord of Atlantis and the Elf Goblin Zombie. Yeah, they're all basically the same. Fun fact, White does not have any lords except for one Time Lord from Doctor Who. Interesting! No lord in white. Okay, we've got... Okay, Lord of Atlantis. It is a messed up card. Summon Lord of Atlantis. Lord of Atlantis is its own creature type. Okay, all merfolk can play Gate Island Walk and +1/+1 while this card is in play. It's a 2/2 creature. And the deal is, like, it couldn't buff itself up because it wasn't a merfolk. It was a Lord of Atlantis. It comes from the creature type Lord of Atlantises. Comes from a long line of a Lord of Atlantis. Finally, is now a creature merfolk. Other merfolk get +1/+1 and have Island Walk, including your opponent's creatures. This is not just yours. Okay, next up, let's look at Platonic Liquids. Lion's Eye Diamond is somehow more confusing now. Really? Back in the day, it was a 0-mana artifact. You sack Lion's Eye Diamond, discard your hand, add 3 mana of any one color to your mana pool. Play this ability as a mana source. And now it's 0-mana artifact. Discard your hand, sacrifice Lion's Eye Diamond, add 3 mana of any one color. Activate only as an instant. Oh yeah, I don't really understand the point of that. Oh, it can't be... Oh yeah, it has to be I think the idea is if it was a mana source, you could cast a card in your hand first. Because the way the rules work, you first cast card, declare targets, then pay for the card or ability. And in that case, you could cast the card and then sack Lion's Eye Diamond probably to pay for it. But if it's an instant, you can't play instants as you're trying to, like, pay the mana cost of a spell. Mana source didn't go on the stack? Exactly. Oh, yeah. But if you didn't know the rules to Magic the Gathering, like, or if you didn't know how the proper, if you didn't know how a card actually is move by move put on the stack, this looks really confusing. I'm gonna activate as an instant? So bizarre. Yeah, just making it sure that you can't pay for stuff like you do with, like, you know, Soul Ring and so on. Cool version. Cool card. Errata'd with Blood Vial Purveyor. Blood Vial Purveyor. The last ability now lasts until end of turn. Okay, oh yeah, this card! I remember the kerfuffle about this. Still sees no play. It's a black 2 generic 5/6 vampire, flying and trample. If an opponent casts a spell, that player creates a blood token. But whenever it attacks, it gets +1/+0 for each blood token defending player controls. Now, read like that, it's permanent. And frankly, they should just give it to it like that. What's wrong with that? It's basically it's like a Djinn, 4 mana 5/6, but can get bigger and has trample. I think it actually would give more purpose to the +1/+0, but now it's just +1/+0 until end of turn for each blood token defending player controls. I think it's cooler the original way. It's a 13-cent card. Like, it sees no play. There is no point to errataing it. Although it doesn't feel right, you know? All these effects usually last until end of turn. They're not permanent in any way. Okay, next up we got a super chat from Spectral Maniac. We got the Orcish. Oh, we did that one. Oh, sorry about Spectral Maniac. It was originally printed with a cost of 1 red, but then they reprinted with a cost of 3 R and beta. Both versions were legal at the time. Oh, did they whoa, maybe I don't understand. Orcish. Did I miss that part of it? Oh, I didn't even catch that part. Okay, this actually is not a wasted super chat. I thought it was just when attacking, all your attacking creatures get +1/+0. And it's just a weirder way of talking about this. Oh, I must have missed that for the last person. Now it's they up the ante. 2 mana. What's even wrong with this? It's not even broken at 2 mana. At 4 mana, probably straight up unplayable. Well, why is everything so weird? At 4 mana, probably useless. Substance is an ability that does nothing. Substance. Well, where did substance come from? We get talking about substance. From the rules, 502.49, substance, obsolete. So substance is a static ability with no effect. I have no idea what that means. Or if it came from something. Okay, Rugal, Sinkhole. Did it receive no errata? Before this card's reading is as simple as it gets. So it got, like, worse. Let's look at all the prints. Oh yeah, you're right. For a black, destroy any one land. And now it's destroy target land. They actually reduced words on it though. They reduced the words. They didn't up the ante technically because, you know, it's not an yeah, you're right. Okay, Phil Good. Stream of Life. Stream of Life. And Time Walk are the only 2 cards from Alpha that haven't been... Oh, well. This is the opposite of what this show is about. We want cards that have changed. Cards that have changed multiple times. Interesting, Time Walk hasn't changed at all. Bacon Catbug with Time Vault. For yet more Alpha weirdness. Oh, yes. Alpha was a hell of a time back then. 2 mana! for a mono artifact. Tap to gain an additional turn after the current one. Time Vault doesn't untap normally during an untap phase. To untap it, you must skip a turn. Time Vault begins tapped. And now it's just like Time Vault enters the battlefield tapped. Time Vault doesn't untap anymore during your untap step. But if you begin your turn while Time Vault is tapped, you may skip that turn instead. If you do, untap Time Vault. Now you got tap, take an extra turn after this one. This is way clearer. They fixed this up in a good way. Nothing wrong with that. Crowcore Games with, Urlock of Sorch Thrash is Mana Burn. Shazuko was Errata'd. It works nicely in that deck. Donate. Thank you very much, Crowcore Games. We shall donate to... Who else has one? Substance used to be on Armor of Thorns. Armor of Thorns. Let's take a look at it, Chewy Pudding. Okay. Substance? Where's the substance? Okay, green, 1 generic, enchant creature. You may choose to play Armor of Thorns as an instant. If you do, bury it at end of turn. Play only on a non-black creature, enchant creature. Blah, blah, blah. There's substance on this. I don't understand. I don't get it. Okay, moving on. Simon, Lifeline. It is an artifact. Whenever a creature is put into a graveyard and a creature is in play, return that creature from your graveyard to play at end of turn. That sounds pretty clear and easy enough. Whenever a creature is put into a graveyard and a creature is in play. Now, whenever a creature dies, if another creature is on the battlefield, return the first card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. What the hell? In my opinion, they did make this a little bit more confusing. The first card? What is the first card? Or is it like the first card that went to the graveyard? And how do you even determine that? I'm like, what's the criteria? Any cards that have been errata'd. So if the text on the right can ever differ from the card on the left, you're good on this show. Next super chat we got from Phil Goad with Lion's Eye Diamond. We did that one already. So Phil Goad, we're gonna donate your super chat. Maybe to yourself. Do you have another card out here? If not, I'm gonna just choose somebody around here. We'll go with Sam Hansen, Lord of the Undead. Arena cards count? No. Would they? Why would they ever be here? Because the arena cards, you can change the arena card just like that. Okay, Lord of the Undead, the OG. Okay, we got black, 1 generic, Lord. Oh yes, the classic. They still had Lords during Plane Chase? Are you kidding me? Okay, old zombies get +1/+1. Black 1 generic tap, return target zombie card from your graveyard to your hand. So now it's just like, now it has a creature type of zombie instead of Lord. And then other zombie creatures get +1/+1. I wonder, was there ever a Lord for Lords? All other Lords get +1, or all Lords get +1/+1. Put in your Lord deck with Lord of Atlantis, Goblin King, the Lord of the Undead. So weird. Evan, welcome. They changed the rule for Sarah Paragon because it doesn't work the way it's worded. Is that right? Sarah Paragon. I don't see this. Sarah Paragon. Is there like a backside to this? I have no idea what you're talking about, King Ginger. Moving on. Let's look at El Winter's Changeling Lord Wen. Oh no, that's not a card yet. Yeah, the Lord of Lords. Zombie Master is the OG Zombie Lord. That is true. Paragon? Oh, Paragon. Sarah Paragon. What is the... is this the original one? Okay, so... White, 2 generic. Angel. It's a 3/4 flyer. Once during each of your turns, you may play a land from your graveyard or cast a permanent spell with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard. If you do, it gains when this permanent is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, exile it, and you gain 2 life. I don't get it. So now it's once during each of your turns, you may play a land from your graveyard or cast a permanent spell with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard. If you do, it gains, which is the same. Whenever this permanent is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, exile it, and you gain 2 life. What is the difference here? Once during each of your turns. May play a land. Or is this like just, is it like put in the dumpster or something? PSA, you don't have to cast suspend cards at the time of removing counters now. Yep, that's a new errata. It reads the same, they changed the rule. Oh, well in that case it's disqualified. That's not how this show works. This is an errata, a changed errata show. You gotta change them erratas. They changed camouflage so much, I don't even know if it's the same card. I like the sound of that. Camouflage. Says Fred. Go to the alpha version. Okay, we got a green instant. You may rearrange your attacking creatures and place them face down? What the hell? Revealing which is which only after defense is chosen. It's like Morph. If this results in impossible blocks, such as non-flying creatures blocking flying creatures, illegal blockers cannot block this turn. What the hell? I didn't even know a card like this even existed. Okay, cast this spell during your declare attacker's step. I declare camouflage. This turn, instead of declaring blockers, each defending player chooses any number of creatures they control and divides them into a number of piles equal to the number of attacking creatures for whom that player is the defending player. Creatures those players control, what the hell, that can block additional creatures may likewise be put into additional piles. Assign each pile to a different one of those attacking creatures at random. Each creature is in a pile that can block the creature that pile is assigned to do so. You know, if you ask me which was the Oracle text and which was the alpha printing, I would choose the right side. I mean, the right side actually... Yeah, exactly, Crowcore Games. The internet noises. This is, that is a hell of an Oracle text. It reads exactly like an alpha text, in my opinion. Does not compute at all. I like the original message. Like, I don't even know if this is the same card anymore. They changed it so much. It honestly reads fine. It's like, okay, everything's face down, attack, and if there's an illegal block, it's just not blocked. That's it. Yeah, the OG makes so much more damn sense. That's so funny. Okay, Crowcore Games, what do you got for us? Oh, Walls didn't defend! Oh, Walls didn't have Defender, and since the original Orification says all walls can't attack, it affects all walls and changelings as worded. Oh, that's right! LOL, but thankfully they errated it. Donate ×2. Thank you very much, Crowcore Games. Okay, we're gonna donate 2 super chats from Crowcore Games. That's right. If all walls couldn't have, if all walls technically had Defender, then changelings would be useless because they'd all be walls that couldn't attack. So they have to have Defender. They have to be given Defender because all changelings are walls, but not all changelings have Defender. Slack with Sands of Time. It's a 4 mana, sad-looking person looking at the sand go down. Each player skips his or her untap phase. At the beginning of each player's turn, untap each tapped artifact, creature, and land he or she controls, and tap each untapped artifact, creature, and land he or she controls. What is it? Okay, so each player skips their untap step. Is it just like replacing all the his and her with their? At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player simultaneously... Okay, we have simultaneously untaps each tapped artifact, creature, and land they control, and taps each untapped artifact, creature, and land they control. Oh, was there like a gimmicky way of like untapping things one at a time and then like tapping them before you have to tap them or some crap like that? That is weird. Okay, so that's 1 super chat. What do we got next here? I'll have to put my camouflage in my it's a Mephistopheles deck. That's hilarious. Oh, that is so funny. Isn't simultaneously implied all the time? I know! It's like, I'm not untap. I mean, they might have done some market research and watched how people play the game and they untap all their stuff one at a time. Oh, well. Just in case it wasn't clear, it must be all done simultaneously. Simultaneously, my friends. Dinglebat. Hold on. So let's go with a Chewy Pudding. This is a new one. All Hallows Eve. is so weird. Originally a sorcery, Errata'd to be an enchantment. Is that right? Oh, oh, did it become an enchantment? It became an sorcery. You're right. It became an enchantment. That is so effed up. It's an oversized league thing. Okay, that is so bizarre. Okay, so we got a sorcery. Put 2 counters on this card. Remove a counter during your upkeep. When you remove the last counter from All Hallows Eve, all players take all creatures from their graveyards and put them directly into play. Treat these creatures as though they were just summoned. You choose what order they come into play, if that even matters. These days, they just all come into play. If there are no more scream counters on it, put it into your graveyard. This is just classic Living End. It's just the OG Living End. They cleaned it up. Is this on the reserve list? Oh, they reprinted Living End. They just gave it suspend. That's the only difference. Okay, next super chat. Oh no, hold on. That we went through our 2 things. Ah, Illusionary. I hate reading this card, honestly. I'm just putting it on here. You guys can stop. You can pause the video and read it if you really want to. Bruno with Grinning Totem. I'm just every single time Illusionary Mask is on this show, which is often, I'm like, that's just too much word soup. You all know what Illusionary Mask does. Actually, you probably don't, but I've read it so many times I still don't know what it means. Grinning Totem, 4-mana artifact. Oh, is that the original? This is the original. Pay 2, tap, sacrifice Grinning Totem to search target opponent's library for any card and put it face up in front of you. That player shuffles his or her library afterwards. You may play the card as though it were in your hand. If you do not play the card by the beginning of your next upkeep, put it into its owner's graveyard. That's just weird. Pay 2, tap, sack it. Search your target opponent's library for a card, exile it. Okay, so it's like you put it in front of you, but it's not technically in play. The player shuffles until the beginning of your next upkeep. You may play that card at the beginning of your next upkeep. If you haven't played it, put it into its owner's graveyard. It actually could be re-errata'd. It's just like you exile the card, you may play it until the end of your turn, and that's it. Just like a lot of those red spells. Are you gonna get any chubby meatball lands? The cat forest? Probably not. Oh, is that a new like secret lair? I gotta take a look at that, I guess. If you didn't want to read cards that are hard to read, why did you decide to have a stream about reading cards that are hard to read? Hey, these cards aren't hard to read. That card is just annoying to read. Very, very, very annoying. Rugal with the super chat. Off topic, could you post your set list songs you play in your streams? Some songs are really good to listen. For example, driving, studying, etc. Thanks. Could you donate this to chat? We always donate the things to chat. If you timestamp me, I can tell you. Otherwise, like, Here, you want to take a look at some of these things? Here, can you see this? This is you have a chance of looking at... Here it is. You can pause it. You got to zoom in. This is my playlist for the stream. It's all there. Most of them, anyhow. Okay, so I did it! I did it for you! I hope you're happy. They want all the song. I know. Everyone wants the music. They love the music. Okay. Toads with Metamorphosis. It's the first. Is there a card with only called Metamorphosis? Ooh. Ew. Disgusting. Okay, we have a green sorcery. Sacrifice a creature of yours in play for an amount of mana equal to its casting cost +1. You had also made the old cards hard to read, reading the text on this incredibly dark background. This mana can be of any one color and can only be used to summon creatures. These days, it's a green sorcery. And its additional cost to cast this spell, sack a creature. And add X mana of any one color where X is 1 plus the sacrifice creature's mana value. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. This is definitely a case where the new card, sorry, the Oracle text is a hell of a lot cleaner than the old text. Yeah, that's definitely an old card of all time. You're welcome, Rugal. I hope that helped you. You want N64 Zelda music? Did I have that on here? The problem is that the Zelda music sort of sucks on repeat. Like, it's good for 1 minute and then it sucks after that. Okay, hold on. We've got... okay, we're going with Mist Form Ultimus from Matties. Or Matthias. It is a blue 3 generic legendary creature illusion. Oh, hold on. It came from Legions. So it is a blue 3 generic 3/3 illusion legend. Mistform Ultimus is every creature type, even if this card isn't in play. That's interesting. Mistform Ultimus may attack as though it weren't a wall. Oh my god. So was this the original changeling? Except it's not a changeling. So it's not even oh no, it is a legendary creature. Legendary creature illusion. Mistform Ultimus is every creature type. But they don't have to, okay, these days they don't have to specify that it can attack as though it weren't a wall, because now walls aren't inherently built in with the defender card, like the defender ability. Okay, Dinglebag with Swords to Plowshares. Okay, let's look at Swords to Plowshares. The original. I can't imagine how different this card is, though. Hold on, that's not the first one. Where'd Alpha go? Where's the Alpha printing of Swords to Plow? It's disappeared. Oh, it's on. There's actually... This card has been printed so many times, there is a second page for this damn card. That's unbelievable. Okay, White Instant. Target creature is removed from game entirely. Just get it out of here. It may not exist ever again. In fact, don't even put it in your deck ever again, because it no longer exists. Tear it up. Return, or burn it. Return to owner's deck only when game is over. Oh, okay, so you can... Don't burn it! Creature's controller gains life points! I didn't even know they were called life points back then. It's like Yu-Gi-Oh! Stole that from Swords to Plowshares. They're life points equal to creature's power. Now it's just exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. Didn't you know we had life points back then? Yeah, can we bring back remove from the game entirely? Remove from the game entirely. It makes more sense than exile, in my opinion. Okay, time for just super chats. We got North Star. Yep, words. 4-mana artifact. Pay for it with the tap symbol. You may cast one spell this turn by paying its casting cost with any type of mana. For example, green, 2 generic becomes 4 generic. However, the card still remains its original color. This ability may be played as an interrupt. And now it's like 4 mana tap. For one spell this turn, you may spend mana as though it were mana of any type to pay that spell's mana cost. You may cast one spell this turn. Oh yeah, it did very much specify only one. You may only cast only one. Crowcore Games with another super chat. Instill Energy. Instill Energy is a weird alpha moment. Instill Energy is one of these cards that I always see in the bulk bins. This thing is like a worthless card, right? Well, I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. It is a green enchant creature. You may untap target creature both during your untap phase and one additional time during your turn. Target creature may also attack the turn it comes into play. I don't really understand what that means here. Enchant creature, so it's an aura. Enchant creature can attack as though it had haste. Can't you just say enchant creature has haste? Pay 0, untap enchant creature, activate only during your turn and only once each turn. Now that is a very different card than the original. And with that, this is a wonderful show we had on Errata'd cards, people. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I had a lot of fun. It's always a great to see how much this game has evolved since its OG days. And if you want to be part of the show, you got to be here weekdays, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks to everyone who supports the channel. If you're a member on YouTube, if you're a patron on Patreon, or Use Super Chat to be part of the show, and also donate to other people who can't pay to win on Coffee and MTG. And most importantly, we gotta thank everyone who shows up in the morning. People like Christopher B. Where were you, Christopher B? Are you an hour late or something? We got Nate, David Sampson, Toad, Steve Cooper, Tammy, Bacon Catbug, Erland PM, Spectral Maniac, Jas, Mr. Deadhead, Toads, Matties, we got we got Stanel, because you guys are the show. So as usual, my coffee crew, keep brewing up them coffees, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.